Good evening to all. A session will start shortly.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Lawwellman sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Safi sir,
Yeah.
In fact, I was going to log in two. ഞാനൊരു മറ്റൊരു ലോഗിനും കൂടി ട്രൈ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അതിനകത്ത് എനിക്ക് എന്നെ അതിനകത്തും കൂടി ഒന്ന് പിന്നെ ഒന്ന് അവരോട് അതൊന്ന് പറയാം, ടെക്നിക്കൽ പീപ്പിളിനോട്.
അതെ അതെ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ടെക്നിക്കൽ ടീം കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ട് സാർ.
ഞാൻ അതിനകത്താണ് ആദ്യം ട്രൈ ചെയ്തത്. സോ ഐ വാസ് നോട്ട് ഏബിൾ ടു ഡു ദിസ്. സോ അത് ഞാൻ മൊബൈലിൽ ട്രൈ ചെയ്തു.
ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ.
How are you, sir?
No, fine, sir.
So shall we start, sir?
Yeah.
ഞാനൊരു ഇതിനകത്തും കൂടി ഒന്ന് ഞാൻ ജസ്റ്റ് ലോഗിൻ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അതിനകത്തും കൂടി ഒന്ന് ജസ്റ്റ് ഇതിനകത്തൊന്ന് please let me in that capacity also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
we'll make sure that, sir.
Once we do that, then we'll start.
Okay.
Good evening to all. It's a very new session of 30 days internship program for LLB students organized by Law and Justice Research Foundation in association with lawexams.govt.law. I hope the previous sessions provided you a lot of information, and today also we have a very interesting and a relevant topic for discussion, that is importance of constitutional literacy in India. And we have two eminent resource persons to take the class, Dr.Lawwellman sir and Safi Mohan sir. So to all interns and participants there, wishing you a graceful and knowledgeable session ahead. Now I invite Mr. Ajay Y to cover the session. Ajay, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So, hi to everyone. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. So, good evening, respected Dr.Lawwellman, sir, Assistant Professor, Government Law College, Kozhikode, Mr. Safi Mohan, sir, Assistant Professor, Government Law College, Trivandrum, General Secretary, Advocate Neelima V. Nair, ma'am, Technical Coordinators, Sandeep Chandrasekhar, sir, and Gauri Shankar, sir, and our Supervisor, Jomol J. I welcome you all. Myself, Ajay Y, fourth year BA LLB student of Kerala Law Academy Law College, and currently an intern at LJRF. It gives me immense pleasure to host this session of 30 days internship program for LLB students, which is organized by Law and Justice Research Foundation in association with lawexams.co.in. So today we have with us our eminent speakers, Dr. Lawwellman sir and Mr. Safi Mohan sir, to give a session on the topic of importance of constitutional literacy in India. Before we get started with the session, I invite my fellow intern, Ms. Vaishnavi Krishnan, who is a fourth year LLB student at Mar Gregorius Law College, Trivandrum, to welcome the gathering. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajay. Good evening, everyone. I am Vaishnavi Krishnan, doing 8th MBA LLB in Mar Gregorius College of Law, currently an intern in LJRF. I feel grateful to the whole LJRF team for giving me an opportunity to welcome the esteemed personalities in today's lecture series. Today we have Dr. Lawwellman, Assistant Professor, Government Law College, Kozhikode, and Mr. Safi Mohan sir, Assistant Professor, Government Law College, Thiruvananthapuram, to give a lecture on importance of constitutional literacy in India. I welcome you, sir. We are grateful to you for sparing your valuable time from your busy schedules. Now I'd like to welcome Sandeep Chandrasekhar, Joint Secretary, LJRF, and Gauri Shankar, who is our technical coordinators. Next, I would like to welcome the whole LJRF family and hope you have an informative session ahead and highly benefit through this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. Thank you. So now it's time for us to start the session. So we have all been waiting for this moment. So I invite the speaker, Dr. Lawwellman sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. I hope I am audible and I am
Yes, sir.
visible also. And I've got a few slides to share, and hopefully that is also visible. I hope it is also visible, right, Mr. Ajay?
I'm afraid it's not. Wait a minute, sir. Yes, 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 sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's visible. Yeah.
It is
visible.
visible.
It is visible. So everything is set. So first, at the outset, I should place on record my heartfelt gratitude to LJRF, Safi sir, Mr. Ajay, and everyone for having me here online on this Sunday evening. It's so pleasant to be among you all, talking about a subject which I love from the bottom of my heart, like Safi sir. So, constitutional literacy and its importance. Constitutional literacy and its importance can be, talked in very many dimensions, in very many, sense, in very many, length also. So we'll be speaking. What we have done is maybe just for the purpose of information of the participants, the understanding between myself and my dear friend Safi Mohan is this. I'll be talking for about 45 minutes, and Safi sir also will be talking for about 45 minutes. So that will make 1.5 hours, and we'll have some around half an hour for our interaction also. So that will make a 2-hour session. That's the plan of action for the next 2 hours, 5 to 7. That's what is going to happen tentatively. So thank you once again for the kind invitation offered to me and the nicest of words. So those are the pleasantries which I want to exchange. Now coming to constitutional literacy, the need for that, the importance of that, the significance of that. Why you need to have constitutional literacy. Before we directly move to that topic of constitutional literacy, I should signify the importance of constitution itself. In fact, in the sidelines, we had an interaction. I had an interaction with Safi sir. Our plan of action was also this. We should know why constitution is important. Constitution is important for any country, for that matter. Any modern democracy, I don't say democracy, any modern governance system, any modern nation has a constitution. And it is the governing basic document. So that way, it has an importance, and that need not be underlined again. But in India, to me at least, there is an added advantage, added importance to the document called Constitution. Because it's perhaps, I don't know whether it's right for me to say so. And India never existed before. A political entity, a socially organized group called India, never existed before we have the present India. Before 1947, before the advent of the Britishers and the other foreigners, India never existed. India jocularly said, no, it was when we were striving for our freedom struggle, and we were claiming for a nation. Churchill, the great, at the same time, I would say he was not that very great. The great Churchill, the British Prime Minister, said, India can never be a nation. He said, India is at the most name of a geographical area. What did he mean by that? He was making a sarcastic statement. He was a shrewd politician. He was a seasoned politician. He was a statesman also. He had enough knowledge about politics and political system. His statement was not just a careless statement. His statement was a very deliberate, careful, of course, sarcastic statement. That statement meant that the area called India, the people who are trying to be Indians and to constitute India, has nothing in common which can be called as Indian. He said, as many as 600 nation states, always fighting with each other. Nothing in common, he said, because a nation, to be called as a nation, should have something in common. A common element, apart from the political unity and the law and order and things like that, there should be some element which will keep that group organized and cohesive to be called as a nation. Take the example of Israel. Culture, the religion could be one of the factors. Religion need not always be the only factor, but religion could be one of the factors. Pakistan, for example, another example. There are very many examples like that. There could be an ethnic group which is coming together, forming a political group, and they are deciding to live together. There will be a common culture which will keep people cohesive as a political unit, which can be called as a nation. Or it could be anything of that sort, even a caste, even an ethnic group, a race. You must have come across the book of the culture, the Clash of Civilizations by Samuel P. Huntington. I don't know How many of you have read it? In that, he said a cohesive, force could be different. Culture could be a cohesive force. But I was wondering when I was thinking about India, myself as an Indian, with a lot of love for India, what is the cohesive force behind Indians to be Indians? To stand as a nation, to stand as a cohesive unit, to be organized as a political group, apart from that political unity, what is that which would keep us together as a nation? We also need to have something which will keep us together. What is that force? I was just thinking aloud. In fact, I discussed with my brother and father and some of my friends also. Apart from this, what are the factors which will keep a group organized as a nation, political nation? But India, I couldn't find any. That might be the reason why, very sarcastically, but at the same time very meaningfully, Churchill was making that sarcastic statement. India can at the most be called as a geographical area. It can never be a nation. He never said that, but that was the hint. He was definitely hinting at that. But we completed 75 years. We got independence in 1947, and this is 2020, and we are very strong. We are strong even against China. But what is that force which is keeping us together? And it is in this context that I would like to position Constitution. India is a secular nation. The hallmark of India is diversity, and we are just trying to have some diversity in our country.
So we are having some network issue, I guess.
Home to
I believe Lawwellman sir has gone offline. Everyone kindly please wait until his network connection is resumed.
Oh,
Thank you.
കേൾക്കാമോ? ഹലോ?
Yes.
Yes, sir, you can continue.
എന്തൊരു
You're
എന്തൊരു
audible now.
ഒരു sorry, there was some technical issues. Why not?
It's okay, sir. It's okay. Fine, perfectly fine.
Okay, and I think my slide is also visible.
Yes, sir. Your slides are also.
Okay. So I was talking about that factor that keeps a nation together, and I was searching for a single factor or a multiple factor that will keep India as India and Indians as Indians. That factor. I was just searching for one. In fact, when I searched for that, the thing that came to my mind, likewise, I think it will come to your mind also. Diversity is the hallmark of our nation. India is a nation of different cultures, different religions, different race, different castes, different gender, different people from different place of birth, different races. Yeah, in all respects, we are different. Or rather, perhaps there is no country in the world which can boast diversity as the hallmark. If diversity is the hallmark, and nevertheless, if we are politically organized, we need to have a factor which will keep us close knit and which will keep us cohesive and keep us going as a nation. So it is in this position that I see the constitution spirit. So unlike many other nations, the Constitution of India has a twin objective. Not only to act as a political document which will keep an otherwise cohesive unit together, but to keep that cohesiveness within us. Not only that political organization, political organizational needs as a political document. Ours should be a social document. Ours should be, our constitution should be a cultural document too. They need to have a transformation from the social culture. If you can boast one, we have social culture to a constitutional culture. And for that, we require constitutional literacy. That precisely is the idea I'm trying to put across. So the Indian Constitution and the Indian constitutional culture, that way Indian Constitution has a multiple or twin objective to serve, not only as a political document, also as a cultural document. The constitutional expert, an American who expert last year, said Constitution of India is not just a legal document. You must have definitely come across that statement. It is a socio-legal document. If you further read his book, which is worth reading, which I could do to some extent. Many of you might have done that. I'm sure Safi sir must have done that. And what he has said is, Constitution of India is a document for social revolution, a peaceful social revolution. Because we do not have something in common altogether already. We always say that India has never attacked another nation. Of course, we boast of that. We say that we are peace-loving country. What does it show? To me, in a sense, it is lack of unity. We were never together. We were losing something. We never had that cohesiveness. We never had that unity. If I can quote Ambedkar, we were in a multi-storied building which did not have multi-storied building
Sorry, I guess we are having some network issue. We'll contact you. We have lost Lawwellman, sir, because of some network issue. Please kindly wait.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry again. Safi sir, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. It's okay, sir.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm very
Yes,
sorry. I
sir.
don't know.
സാറ് സാറേ എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു സാറ് മൊബൈലിലായതുകൊണ്ട് ഫോൺ കോൾ വരുമ്പോൾ കട്ടാവും.
Maybe that, and I think there is some problem with my Wi-Fi also. I'm sorry.
Right.
Anyway, I'm audible now. So the all these no, lack of unity, I'm just trying to put across because
സ്ലൈഡ് കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല. സ്ലൈഡ് കാണാൻ പറ്റും.
slide കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല. One second. Hello. Improvement വന്നിട്ടെന്ന് ഞാൻ വിചാരിക്കുന്നു.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hopefully it will continue some time. Okay. So ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു വന്ന എൻ്റെ ഒരു പോയിന്റ് ഇതാണ്. Make it brief. I'm also taking so much of time. ഒരു ഇന്ത്യൻ കൾച്ചറിനെ കൊഹസീവ് യൂണിറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് നിർത്താൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഇൻസ്ട്രുമെന്റ് എന്നതിൽ കവിഞ്ഞ് ഒരു കൾച്ചറൽ ഡോക്യുമെന്റ് ആയിട്ട് കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ നിലനിൽക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യമുണ്ട്. സോ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് ജസ്റ്റ് എ പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ ഡോക്യുമെന്റ്, ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് മോർ ദൻ ദാറ്റ്. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഞാൻ ഐ വാസ് ജസ്റ്റ് കോട്ടിംഗ് ഗ്ലാൻവില്ലി ഓസ്റ്റിൻ who said social revolution, but a socio-legal document. And that was the reason why I was also quoting Churchill, who said that India can never be a nation together. So India do not have a cohesive factor apart from that political unity which will keep India together. That idea I was just trying to put across. Ende manasilulla ideas I have just put in this slide. Just have a look at this. The idea of constitution. Constitution is an idea. Constitution idea. And then we need to understand constitution not only as a political document, as a social document. And not only as a social document, as a cultural document. And for that culture cannot be brought in to a nation, to a society, to any place overnight. So towards constitutional culture and our constitutional literacy should strive for that. Importance of our constitutional literacy, the significance of our constitutional literacy mission, our vision should have a constitutional culture apart from the so-called social culture we have now. And we need to have interaction also. This is the plan of action I had in mind, in fact. So let me go through that very fast. The idea of constitution. As far as constitution is concerned, we know this historical day when we got our independence in 1947. Then we were trying to have our own Swaraj for this. We were just trying to have our nation of our own. But in fact, we do not have a common culture. We have a diverse culture in that. And we were trying to make an India, which we called as the India challenge. So this was the challenge we were having. And it was not just a political challenge. I would say it's a social challenge. It's a cultural challenge we have. And India challenges had many things: political system related challenge, territory related challenge, population related challenge, financial system related challenge, governing principles, and very many things which a nation usually faces. My point, which I was in introductory, I was saying is this: apart from this, we had social challenge and a cultural challenge. We need to have a constitutional culture. That is the only single point I'm trying to. So we have a legal system established based on that. But that's all part of a usual constitution-based political system building process. So the answer for this. Now we need to understand certain things. I said we need to have a constitutional culture, a constitutional spirit. How can we have that? Do we have enough principles in the constitution itself which can be called as a constitutional culture, for which I would rely on? Or if you are volunteering for a constitutional literacy program, the things you should be relying on should be three. Let me give you that idea. The first one is the principles of constitution, I would call it as. And for that, I'll just flip through certain things and I'll come to these things. I'll just go back. Previous slide. Just look at this slide. I'm just giving you an example. Does this make any sense to you? Section 17 of Constitution of India, which is part of equality principle, which abolishes untouchability. Does it go to the root of Indian culture? Is it trying to cast away an already existing culture? And isn't it trying to establish a new culture for us? Apart from the ordinary principles, which we read as constitutional provisions, Article 17, അനുച്ഛേദം എന്നൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞ് ലീഗലി വായിക്കുന്ന സംഭവത്തിൽ കവിഞ്ഞ്, don't you see that there is something very much more than that in this? Likewise, I'll just take you through some of the other examples. Let us read Article 15.2. 15.2. Let's go to that. Article 15.2. What does it say? Article 15.2. Article 15. It goes like this. The state shall not discriminate. It says, I'm sorry. Just read Article 15. The state shall not discriminate against any citizen on the ground only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, etc. Apart from that, read on. It is that which will reflect the kind of culture the Constitution is trying to tell us. No citizen shall, on grounds only of religion, race, sex, place of birth, or any of them, be subject to any disability, liability, restriction with regard to access to shops. Please do read with your spirit. Access to shops, public restaurants, hotels, and places of public entertainment. Read on. Use of wells, tanks, bathing ghats, roads, and places of public resort, maintained wholly or partly out of state funds, or dedicated to the use of general public. And please note, this is an exception to the rule that fundamental rights can be used only against state. This fundamental right can be used even against private individuals. Please note this. The use of wells, tanks, bathing ghats. And now, if you go further deep into this speaks about the public space, which is a political debate these days. Even otherwise it was one. Our Constitution speaks about that. It is not just a provision of the Constitution. It is a cultural indication. Likewise, read Article 23, which Article 17 we read. There are very many articles which I wanted to share with you. I do not know whether I will have enough time for that. Trafficking in human being. Again, the beauty of this is available not only against the state, but also against the private individual. Trafficking in human beings and beggar and other similar forms of forced labor are prohibited. Not only between state and individual, but also among the individuals. What is this? It is a cultural indication. It is a cultural prescription. Any contravention of this shall be an offense in India. Please note this. So it's not just, these are all just examples. Article 15.2, Article 17, Article 18, which abolishes title. You have only one kind of citizen. Article 23. And read Article 39 now. Definitely, Safi sir is also going to speak much more on this. Article 38 and 39 on directive principles of state policy. Article 38, just read this. It says that, please do read this. The ownership, 39B. Please do read this. That the ownership and control of the material resources of the community are so distributed as best to subserve the common good. It speaks about an economic culture. And it also says that the operation of the economic system, and if you read C, economic system, does not result in the concentration of wealth. Of course, it's socialism. And means of production to the common detriment. It says so. Again, this is not just an ordinary section. It is a cultural prescription to me. And go to Article 51. Go to Article 51. You have got lot many. I'll read one or two. We will read one or two together. Promote international peace and security and things like that. Maintain just and honorable relation with nations. All those are there. Apart from that, if you read further, and if you go down, fundamental duties. H, to develop scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry and reform. To strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and cultural activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. So what I'm saying is, my point here is, it's not to go through the entire system of the Constitution. When we speak of constitutional principles, which I would call as cultural prescriptions for India, there are 4 parts of the Constitution, which I would like to share with my audience here, my young friends here. The first one is preambular principle. The first one is preambular principles. The second one is fundamental rights, some of which I shared with you already. The third one is directive principles of state policy. Directive principles of state policy. And the fourth one is fundamental duties. These are the cultural prescriptions which constitution makers have given us. These are all not just political ideas. These are social ideas, these are socio-legal ideas, and these are cultural foundations for a nation called India, which never existed before. And it is based on this cultural ideas, which constitution makers have given us, we should strive forward. But as of now, we are not fully culturally, constitutionally oriented. And the importance of constitutional literacy clause remains in the fact that the cultural prescriptions available in the Constitution, in the preambular principles, in the fundamental rights, in the directive principles, and also in the fundamental duties should be given to the people who are at the receiving end. I would like to bring here a quotation, which I want you to read. Please do read this. It says, culture grows in a society through ages, and in turn, it sustains society. Let us read this in the context of constitutional culture and Indian society. It sets the attitude. It should set the attitude of the people like you and me. And it is our responsibility to give this to our people. Beliefs and sentiments of society, and thereby creating the underlying assumptions and rules for its governance and sustenance. നമ്മുടെ രാജ്യത്തിന്റെ governance and sustenance നുള്ള സംഭവമായിട്ട് ഇത് മാറണം. Constitutional culture of a nation cannot be laid overnight. This is a statement which is of utmost importance. It is this responsibility which you and I are taking up by doing constitutional literacy. It is a mission on our part. Constitutional culture of a nation cannot be laid overnight. It evolves with time and experience. And in turn, it sets the deep-rooted norms for the constitutional law of that nation. In the case of India, it is the rule of law around which the edifice of Indian constitutional polity has been mapped. For the sustenance of this design, it is imperative on the part of agencies of the state as well as subjects to understand the same in its spirit and employ them while discharging their public and constitutional power. So to have this constitutional culture in India, it is important for us to have that spirit within us, which we do not have enough within us. And it is through these kinds of attempts, which Safi sir is taking a lead, the constitutional literacy program. It is through these kinds of attempts that constitutional culture will be laid in our nation, and which will keep our nation together, and we will have a constitutional culture of our own, which is based on secularism, which is based on democracy, which is based on socialism, which is based on republican principles, and so on. These principles can be found in Preamble, fundamental rights, directive principles, and also in fundamental duties. Let's hope that our constitutional literacy program will achieve these ideals, and we will definitely have a constitutional culture, if not today, definitely tomorrow. Thank you so much. I'm ready for interaction. Definitely, the baton is handed over to Safi sir. I'm also available here for interaction. Let's listen to Safi sir also, what he has got to speak on this. Thank you so much. We will interact.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. So, because of lack of time constraint, I'm starting my point. And first of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this function program, especially the Secretary and President of Law and Justice Research Foundation and the Secretary and President of the lawexams.co.in and the convener of the program, Advocate Nilima Vinaya. And I think Sandeep is ready, so he will present the slide. Sandeep, you please present the slide. Hello, Sandeep. Can you hear me?
Lawwellman sir, yeah, sir, I can hear you. I can hear you, sir. Lawwellman sir, I humbly request you to stop your presentation so I may be able to present.
Yeah, I'll stop.
Sure. Take your time.
Yeah,
no problem. Take your time, sir.
No, I'm only in mobile.
Okay.
I'm not there in. Stop.
After that, I will start the presentation. No problem. Sure. No problem, sir. Take your time. No. Okay, fine. Please wait, sir. I will start the presentation with you.
So, I think I can start.
When the presentation is visible, can you please just let me know?
Yeah, no problem, sir. Something you can continue. So, actually, I'm forwarding a certain important question in front of the LGRF Indians, because my presentation is broadly divided into 6 points. The first point is what is Constitution? The governments are already explained the relevancy of Constitution. Then only I am asking the question, what is Constitution? Secondly, what is actually the importance of Constitution? And that is the second question. And third question is, what is actually the spirit of the Constitution. And then three more important questions are there. Uh, why Constitution is the philosophy of philosophies, and why Constitution is a compassionate document, and why we need to promote constitutional literacy. So these are some of the most important points that is in my discussion. And first question is, as you know, what is actually a constitution? So I think it is explained in slide 2 and slide 3. And what is actually a constitution? It is explained in slide 2 and slide 3. So basically, constitution is a living law of the land. And you just remember whether my statement is right or wrong, because in the interactive section we can discuss everything in detail. But this is my assumption that the Constitution is a living law of the land. And secondly, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And thirdly, the Constitution establishes a well-defined territory. As you know, that the part 1 of the Constitution deals with the territory. It is clearly defined what is actually territory. And then the Constitution confers a political status of its citizens. And what is that political status? Is the citizenship. Because the population of India is broadly divided into 2 categories. One is the citizen and another one is non-citizen. And next important thing is, Constitution confers a basic right to its subjects. For example, the fundamental rights. And some other points are also there in the next slide, which is the Constitution confers just and welfare measures for its citizens, which is actually laid on in part 4 of the Constitution, that is the directive principles of state policy. And then the Constitution imposes certain duties to its citizens, which has been incorporated in part 4 capital A of Indian Constitution. And the Constitution creates institutions. So that is also a very important thing, because as you know, what are the different institutions established under Indian Constitution, which are part of state, and which are some of them are commissions and some of them are council. For example, the union legislature is there, union executive is there, union judiciary is there. As you know everything in detail. So then certain commissions are there, and also certain councils are there, like Interstate Council and also GST Council. So these are some of the constitutional, very important constitutions. Therefore, the Constitution is a well-established law, which is supreme, and it creates a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So that is actually what is actually a constitution. So if there is a question, what is actually constitution? Constitution is this. Constitution is actually a living law, and constitution is a complete law. So then the next important question is actually what is actually the spirit of the Constitution, or what is actually the heart and soul of the Constitution. Lawwellman sir already explained what is actually the spirit of the Constitution and what is actually the heart and soul of the Constitution, which is there in the 4th slide. And when the same question is came in front of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said the heart and soul of the Indian Constitution is Article 32. Because Article 32 of Indian Constitution is the power of the Supreme Court to issue writs. And he said why Article 32 of Indian Constitution is actually a heart and soul of Indian Constitution, because of the simple reason that Article 32, all fundamental rights are meaningless unless it is not effectively enforced. That is one of the major reasons why Ambedkar said Article 32 is the heart and soul of Indian Constitution. But Nehru said the heart and soul of Indian Constitution is actually the preamble of Indian Constitution. And already Lawwellman sir explained the relevancy of the preamble of the Indian Constitution. But I also saying the fact that the real spirit of the Constitution, or real essence of the Constitution, is actually the preamble of Indian Constitution. I will also explain why it is so, because of the simple reason that some of the essential important golden principles are there in the preamble of the Indian Constitution. which means we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure all its citizens justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, and assuring the dignity of individuals and the unity and integrity of the nation. Because this is something which is the heart of the Indian Constitution. And in many important judgments of the Honorable Supreme Court, the Honorable Supreme Court held that this preamble is actually a reflection of fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy. From this preamble, we can take 10 important points as a golden rule of Indian Constitution. That I think it is visible in slide 5. From this preamble, okay, so slide 5. I think it is slide 6. മുകളിലത്തെ slide. അതിന് yes. So you please see this slide. This is my assumption that the 10 golden rule of preamble are the sovereignty, socialism, secularism, democracy, republic, and justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, and dignity. So what is actually the sovereignty means? Sovereignty means nothing but absolute power of the state is being vested in people. The absolute power of the state is vested in the people and the constitutional institutions. So where the absolute power is vested, it is absolutely vested in the people and then the constitutional institutions. We can come to a conclusion that it is that sovereignty is vested in the people, because we the people is there in that people, because that is actually the citizen of India, and then it is completely vested in the hands of the parliament, because parliament is a sovereign legislative body, and you can see that in the 7th schedule of Indian Constitution. And what is the speciality of 7th schedule of Indian Constitution, where the legislative power is sufficiently distributed to the different institutions, for example, the parliament and state legislature. But in all matters, the parliament can make law in certain exceptional circumstances. For example, in the first list, the parliament can make law, and in the second list, in certain exceptional circumstances, the parliament can also make law under that particular list, state list, and that circumstance is specifically mentioned in Article 248, 249, 250, 252, 253 of Indian Constitution. And then in case of a concurrent list also, the parliament and state legislature are a liberty to make law. And in last point is also very interesting, because a matter which doesn't come under any of the lists, then the parliament can also make law under Article 248 of the Indian Constitution, and that power is called a residuary power. So therefore, the constitutional assumption is that the sovereignty which is lies on the people and then directly, and it is indirectly lies on the parliament. It's completely vested in the hands of the parliament, because of the simple reason that the parliament is the sovereign lawmaking institution in a democratic state. So that is the point. That is the concept of sovereignty. And what is actually the socialism means? Socialism means there is a clear, what is actually the socialism? Socialism means, it is also a very important concept, which means a friendly relationship in between the state and citizens. And we can see this socialist concept basically protection of the weaker sections of the society, basically the marginalized group of the society, as already mentioned by Dr.Lawwellman sir, and underprivileged sections of the society, and creating an absolute equality among its citizens by way of providing this special consideration to the weaker sections. And many provisions of the fundamental rights and the directive principles of state policy deals with the socialist concept that Article 15 clause 4, 15 clause 5, 16 clause 4, 16 clause 4a, Article 17, then Article 23, Article 24, and Article 7, Article 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. All these articles are specifically dealing with the socialist concept because where we can see a underprivileged, marginalized society, and it is the duty of the state to uplift that society. Then only we can achieve the real rule of law as laid down in Article 14 of Indian Constitution. Leave it. So then the secularism, and what is actually secularism? As you know, the secularism is simply means a clear distinction between state and religion. And we have no official religion as a state. That is a simple meaning of secularism, which has one of the basic structure of Indian Constitution. The socialism is one of the basic structure of Indian Constitution, which was so held in number of judgments in the DC Nakare versus Union of India, and in the Excel versus Union of India, Minerva Mills versus Union of India. In that judgment, the Honorable Supreme Court held that the socialism is the basic structure of Indian Constitution. In number of other judgments, the Honorable Supreme Court held that the secularism is the basic structure of Indian Constitution, even though it has incorporated in Indian Constitution before it has incorporated in our Constitution, because in Keshavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala, the Honorable Supreme Court held that the secularism is one of the basic structure of Indian Constitution. But we incorporated that word secularism in 1976 in the 42nd Constitutional Amendment. So this is a very important point that India is a secular nation, and I will also explain what is actually the importance of this 10 golden rule of the preamble. And what is actually democracy? Democracy simply means demo. It is came from two important words, demo and pratic. And demo means power. And what is prata? Prata means this power is vested in the common people. So that is actually the definition of democratic. Demo means the power, and it is vested in the hands of the common people. And then next important point is the republic. And what is a republic? It is also derived from two important words, re and public. And re means the rest, which is vested in the public. The re means the rest is vested in the public. So that is the basic concept of republic. So, and then there is a very, very important other concept like justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, and dignity. But these are the very, very important topic. But if you want to discuss all these topic in details, it will take so many time. So, in my point of view, these 10 these are the 10 rules of the preamble. They are the golden rules of the preamble. And in one point like actually what is actually the spirit of the constitution. Before independence, India never be a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. India is a sovereign, socialist, democratic republic after 1950 January 26th, and that day is celebrated as National Republic Day. So 2 days are very, very important as far as our country is concerned. One is the National Law Day, which is November 26th, and the second day is actually January 26th. Both days are national days, and both days are very important because that days determine the destiny of India, because of the simple reason that we adopted Indian Constitution, and the Constitution came into force on that particular day. The Constitution came into force on January 26, 1950. Before 1950, January 26, India never be a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So this document, the Constitutional Law of India, is the reason why India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So, what is actually the spirit of the Indian Constitution? The spirit of Indian Constitution, because it is, as you know, that it is because of our freedom struggle. We got independence in 1947, and our constitutional laws came into force in 1950. So these freedom struggle and the constitution, the spirit of the constitution is based on these five principles. And what are the five principles? One is Swaraj. And what is actually the Swaraj? Swaraj generally means, as you know, everybody know what is the real meaning of Swaraj. Swaraj is generally a self-governance. And self-governance or the self-rule, the idea propounded by Dayananda Saraswati and later owned by the Mahatma Gandhi, a popular voice of Indian independence and then the father of our nation. And the Gandhi gave it as a content of an integral revolution that encompasses of all spheres of life, and it is sovereign. It is the sovereignty of the people based on pure moral authority. So Swaraj is a basic concept which is first propounded by Dayananda Saraswati, and this was one of the basic idea of Mahatma Gandhi during his freedom struggle. And second important point is very important point is the truth. And what is actually the truth means? As you know that the freedom struggle is fundamentally stands on truth because of the simple reason that Mahatma Gandhi was the leader of that freedom struggle, and one of the essential quality of Mahatma Gandhi as an individual is he is a honest man. So it is reflected in the system, and that is also reflected in Indian Constitution, because we can see the fact that one of the most important motto of the government of India, or the government created by the Constitutional Law of India, is nothing but Satyameva Jayade, which means Satyam Jaikum എന്നുള്ളതാണ് മലയാളത്തിലുള്ള meaning. And also when you are considering the motto of the Supreme Court of India, the Honorable Supreme Court of India, in its website, we can see that what is actually the motto of Supreme Court of India is Yato Dharma Tato Jeha, which means where is Dharma, there is victory. So the truth is an essential inspiration behind the constitutional law of India, and the truth is actually the essential spirit of the Indian Constitution. Whenever we compromise the truth or honesty, and we are actually compromising our constitution. For example, almost all unconstitutional act, we can see there is a dishonesty, and that dishonesty is fundamentally against Indian Constitution, because the real source of Indian Constitution, the spirit of the Indian Constitution, which is derived from the freedom struggle, is nothing but this nation is a nation which is fundamentally believing in truth. And the next important point is actually ahimsa. Ahimsa, as you know, that another essential quality and essential concept that was in the freedom struggle, which which had been incorporated from the religious philosophy of Buddhism and the Christianity, and which was inherited by Mahatma Gandhi, and that ahimsa philosophy was there in the freedom struggle, and which also inherited in our constitution. We can see that ahimsa concept in Indian Constitution, especially in the preamble of the Constitution, especially in the fundamental rights of the Constitution, and also it is specifically mentioned in the directive principles of state policy. And next point is Antyodaya. Antyodaya means the protection of the weakest sections of the society is called Antyodaya, and Sarvodaya means the development of all. And the development of all is something which is one of the basic human rights, which has been recognized by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in Article 30 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And the concept of Antyodaya and Sarvodaya is there in the preamble of Indian Constitution, and which is there in the fundamental rights of the Constitution, where we are many articles of the Constitution protecting the weakest sections of the society, the marginalized sections of the society, and the underprivileged sections of the society, namely the women and children, the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, etc., etc. So this is actually the real spirit of the constitution, which has been inherited from the freedom struggle, which is fundamentally part of Indian constitution, which is specifically inherited in various provisions of the constitution, especially in the preamble of the constitution, especially in the fundamental rights of the constitution, especially in the direct principle of state policy. So Sandeep, next slide. Hello, Sandeep. Yes. So Raj, just I mentioned this Bal Gangadhar Tilak also is nothing but is my birthright, and I shall have it. So this concept is there in the Indian Constitution. That's Raj. And next slide. So next important point is this is the question that I am put forwarding in front of all of us. And in my point of view, the Constitution. I started this presentation by saying a most important fact that Constitution is actually a living document. It is actually the living law of the land. It is a fundamental law of the land. Why I am saying the fact that because of this reason, and what is actually that reason? And that reason is Constitution is a philosophy of many philosophies. Constitution is a philosophy of many philosophies. We can see Nehruism in Indian Constitution because the preamble is itself a area which was prepared by Nehru, and many socialist aspects of Indian constitutions are there in the preamble of in the Indian Constitution, which we can see the Nehruian concept. And secondly, you know, the father of Indian Constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the chairman of the draft committee of Indian Constitution, Ambedkar's philosophy is there in the Constitution. Because as you know that Ambedkar is a person who fought for the women and children and the marginalized sections of the society, including the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. How many provisions are there in the Indian Constitution which protect the women and children? See the provisions which are there, and how many legislations are there which uplifted the women and children. For example, so many legislations are enacted by Indian Parliament in the last decades, which is actually the Ambedkar vision of Indian Constitution, because Ambedkar philosophy, because the Ambedkar is the first man who fought for the women and children, and he introduced a new bill in 1951 in the name of Hindu Code. And it is available in it, where Ambedkar clearly said that I measure the progress of a community by the degree of progress which women have achieved. But unfortunately, during that period, it was not came in front of the parliament, but because of the social stigma, and which was that basic concept was incorporated in many legislations enacted by the parliament in 1955 and 1956, in the Hindu Marriage Act, Hindu Succession and Guardianship Act, the Guardianship and Minority Act. There are so many legislations. And I would say that the present legislation like Domestic Violence Act 2005, and also the Sexual Harassment in Workplace Act 2030, we can see the spirit of Ambedkar. Because Ambedkar's spirit to protect the women and children, especially he said protection of women and children are most important in a progressive society like India. And see the Ambedkar who fought for his community, the spirit that Ambedkar had during before independence, during the period of 1920 to 1947. He directly fought against Gandhi because of the reason that he want to protect his community scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, and many provisions of Indian Constitution, including the recent amendment of Indian Constitution, which protect the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, which has been there in Indian Constitution under Article 15 clause 4, 15 clause 5, 16 clause 4, 16 clause 4A, 16 clause 4B, Article 17, and also the reservation of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in parliament and state legislatures, and definition of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, because no other particular caste or no other community is specifically defined in Indian Constitution, but the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe is specifically defined in Article 366 of Indian Constitution. And see the constitutional commissions like Scheduled Caste Commission on National Commission on Scheduled Caste and National Commission on Scheduled Tribe, which are constitutional commissions. So all these commissions are established, and all these welfare provision for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes are there in the fundamental rights and there in the directive principles because of the vision of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And we can see that concept, the Gandhism, in the Indian Constitution. The Gandhism in our Constitution, especially in the preamble of Indian Constitution, especially some of the specific words of the preamble of Indian Constitution, like justice, fraternity, unity of this country, and also some of the directive principles of state policies as laid down in Article 40, organization of village panchayat and promotion of cottage industries, specifically mentioned in Article 43 of Indian Constitution, and also some of the basic concept that is there in the fundamental rights of Indian Constitution. See, Marxism. See, yeah, I think some of these students might read the Communist Manifesto, where you can see 10 rules, and in 10 rules, Communist Manifesto. When you read Communist Manifesto, you can see 10 rules, and the 7 rules are there in the Indian Constitution. Even though the economic theory, one of the sharpest economic theory in the world, the communist, which is there in the Communist Manifesto and Indian Constitution, ideologically there are some difference of opinion, difference of view as far as this theory is concerned, but almost 7 golden rules of Communist Manifesto is there in Indian Constitution. For example, Marx explained the fact that a nation need a progressive method of taxation, and that progressive method of taxation is one of the constitutional duty of the governments of India, as specifically mentioned in Article 39 of Indian Constitution. Article 39 Article 39 clause B and Article 39 clause C of Indian Constitution. And Marx said equitable distribution of wealth is an essential requirement. That is also laid in Article 39 of Indian Constitution, 39 clause C of Indian Constitution. You know the relevancy of Article 39 B and Article 39 C of Indian Constitution. Even if it conflict with fundamental right, that provision will survive, even though that provisions are the directive principles of state policy. And Marx said the education to children in public schools, which is one of the specific rule of Communist Manifesto, that is also there in Indian Constitution as laid down in Article 21 capital A of Indian Constitution. So in giving education to children, there is no inconsistency between Communist Manifesto and Indian Constitution. And another important thing is Marx said prevent monopoly of businesses. And it is the duty of the state to prevent monopoly of business and prevent and also privatization, which is there in Article 19(6) of Indian Constitution. It is the liberty and wisdom of the state to make any kind of regulation in order to make any particular business into a state monopoly. And also Marx said all banks, financial institutions must be under the control of the state, which is that actually Indira Gandhi did. And Marx said, and using the same constitution, even though the socialism is was actually not in the constitution during that time. And also Marx said a fair system of utilization of agricultural land and the protection of interest of laborers and farmers. That provisions are there in the directive principle of state policy. So the 10 rules proponed by Karl Marx, one of the sharpest theory, economic theory, which is there in the Communist Manifesto, which is almost 7 rules are there in Indian Constitution, in the fundamental rights and the directive principles of state policy. So actually, the Indian Constitution is also very much influenced by the Communist Manifesto for an extent, and see the political philosophies like many political philosophies like socialism, many political philosophies like democracy, many political philosophies like a republican character of the government, federal structure of the state, parliamentary form of government, which is there in the Indian Constitution. See the religious philosophies. See the religious philosophies. ഞാനൊരു 10 മിനിറ്റ് വൈൻഡപ്പ് ചെയ്യാം. ഈ കാര്യങ്ങളൊന്ന് ഓടിച്ചു പറയാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഞാനത് എടുക്കുന്നത്. See the religious philosophies. See the truths. See the compassion. See the development of human beings and the pursuit of happiness, which is there in the fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy. You please consider any religious philosophies like Buddhism. We can see truth and compassion. You take into consider any Christian philosophy, you can see the truth and compassion. And you take into consider any other philosophies, like you can see the fraternity and the unity, oneness, and also many other love and affection, and everything is there in the preamble of the Indian Constitution. Everything is there in the fundamental rights, and whatever good part is there in a particular religion, whatever good values are there in a particular religion, whatever good ethics is there in a particular religion, the Constitution inherited all that values. So Constitution, we never denied religion. We denied the bad part of every philosophy, because even Indian Constitution doesn't accept the Ambedkar philosophy, some of the aspect of Ambedkar philosophy. For example, Ambedkar said we need a separate electoral roll for scheduled caste. Constitution rejected it. And in the Constituent Assembly, one of the member of the Constituent Assembly said that we need to create preamble in this way, which means we the people of India, in the name of Mahatma Gandhi, we the people of India solemnly resolved to constitute India into a democratic into a sovereign democratic republic. And another suggestion was put forward by another member, and he said, we the people of India, in the name of God, we the people of India solemnly resolve to constitute India into a sovereign democratic republic. Both are rejected. Because Ambedkar said, even though Mahatma Gandhi is the central figure of freedom struggle, there are many hundred and thousands of people, they gave their life for this freedom struggle. And India is not only a country of theists. India is not only a country of theists, but India is a country of theists, atheists, and agnostics. So we are ready to accept all good philosophies we are ready to accept all kinds of good philosophies, whether it is political philosophy, whether it is religious philosophy, whether it is economic philosophy, whether it is any other philosophy. But we never accept a philosophy which is bad, because we have a parameter in order to determine what is good and what is wrong. And that parameter is nothing but constitutional morality. And that constitutional morality is fundamentally stands on the golden rules of Indian Constitution I already mentioned. And that fundamental constitutional morality is based on the spirit of the Constitution that I already mentioned. That Swaraj concept, the truth concept, the Ahimsa concept, the Antyodaya concept, the Sarvodaya concept, and the concept of justice, equality, liberty, fraternity, and dignity of individuals. That is the constitutional morality, and we are ready to accept any particular changes in the Constitution by way of using Article 368 of Indian Constitution, or by way of the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court under Article 141 of Indian Constitution, provided it should satisfy the constitutional morality specifically mentioned in the Preamble, Fundamental Rights and Directive Principles of State Policy. So that is, we can, without any hesitation, we can say that actually the Indian Constitution is a philosophy of philosophies. And to see the conventions, for example, so many conventions, for example, UDHR, Convention on Civil and Political Rights, Convention on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, Convention on Right of Child, Convention on Women, and so many environmental conventions like Stockholm Declaration. Our environmental jurisprudence has originated after 1946 because of the influence of Stockholm Declaration in 1972. See the UDHR, the influence of UDHR in the fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy. See the Convention on Civil, influence of Convention on Civil and Political Rights and the Convention on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights 1966 in Indian Constitution. See the influence of Convention on Right of Child and Convention on Right of Women, different kinds of right of women, because many rights are recognized under different particular conventions. So actually, the Constitution is actually the philosophy of philosophies. That is the most important point. And I would say that another important point, as far as the Constitution is concerned, and that particular point is also very important as far as the Constitution is concerned. And that point is the Constitution is actually a compassionate document.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I will complete within 5 minutes. You please wait.
Sure, sir. Sure.
So Constitution is actually a compassionate document. And it is compassionate more than a Bible and Quran, because of the simple reason that we can see equality, freedom and liberty, life and dignity in Indian Constitution. And very important thing is Constitution is a document which is a document which favoring the weaker sections of the society, the marginalized sections of the society, like women and children, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, accused and victim, aged parents, transgenders, differently abled people, and socially, economically backward sections of the society. So, we are ready to compare the Indian Constitution and Bible, or Indian Constitution and Quran, or Indian Constitution and Gita. Then we can definitely prove the fact that Indian Constitution is the most compassionate document. I am not saying that Bible is a compassionate document. Definitely, Bible is a compassionate document. But we can prove the fact that the Indian Constitution is the most compassionate document based on that constitutional morality, because we don't need any particular religious document for our better life, because the constitutional morality is enough to lead a better life, if because of the simple reason that the Constitution is a compassionate document. ഞാൻ മുഴുവൻ പറഞ്ഞു തീർക്കാൻ എനിക്ക് സമയമില്ല, ബിക്കോസ് ഞാൻ കുറച്ച് സമയം കൂടുതൽ എടുത്തു പോയി. സോ ഐ തിങ്ക് വി ക്യാൻ അടുത്തൊരു ഒരു പോയിന്റ് കൂടെ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു നിർത്താം. അതായത് ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് വൺ ഓഫ് ദ റീസൺ ഫോർ LGRF ഈസ് ദിസ്, because it is the duty of a citizen of India to spread constitutional literacy. എല്ലാ ഫിലോസഫിയും സ്പ്രെഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഈ രാജ്യത്ത് ആളുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷണൽ ലിറ്ററസി സ്പ്രെഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഈ രാജ്യത്തെ ആൾക്കാരില്ല. എന്തുകൊണ്ടെന്നറിയാമോ? ബിക്കോസ് ഓഫ് ദ കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റിംഗ് ഐഡിയോളജീസ്. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, സോഷ്യലിസം ഈസ് ദ നേച്ചർ ഓഫ് ദി കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ. പക്ഷേ ക്യാപിറ്റലിസം അതിനേക്കാൾ ശക്തമാവുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഒരു കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് വരും. ആൻഡ് സെക്യുലറിസം ഈസ് ദ നേച്ചർ ഓഫ് ദി കൺട്രി. പക്ഷേ അൺസെക്യുലർ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ആക്ടിവിറ്റി വരുന്ന സമയത്ത് ആ കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ഐഡിയോളജീസ് വരും. ആൻഡ് the Chaturvarna system, which was abolished by the constitution, but which is still prevailing. ആ ഒരു കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റ് വരുന്ന സമയത്ത് there is a conflict in between that Chaturvarna ideology and the constitutional morality. പിന്നെ മാർസിയൻ ഐഡിയ തന്നെ എടുത്തു നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു ഇക്വാലിറ്റിയുടെയും ഫ്രീഡത്തിന്റെയും റെസ്ട്രിക്ഷൻ മാർസിയൻ ചിന്താഗതിയിലുണ്ട്. ആ പോയിന്റ് ഓഫ് വ്യൂവിൽ there is a conflict between Marxism and Indian constitution. That is the reason why communist people are saying that constitution is a bourgeois constitution. പക്ഷേ ഞാൻ പല ആൾക്കാരോടും പറയുന്നത് പോലെ തന്നെ 1992 അച്യുത മേനോൻ എഴുതിയ ഒരു ആർട്ടിക്കിളിൽ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, ഇന്ത്യൻ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഈസ് നോട്ട് എ ബൂർഷ്വ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ. ബിക്കോസ് അച്യുത മേനോൻ ഒരു ലോയർ ആയിരുന്നു. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ അച്യുത മേനോൻ when you are studying the constitution in a without any prejudice, we should understand the fact that the constitution is not a bourgeois constitution. അപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ മറ്റുള്ള ഐഡിയോളജി എടുത്ത് മാറ്റിയിട്ടാണ് ഇത് കാണേണ്ടത്. അല്ലാതെ നമ്മൾ വേറൊരു ഉടുപ്പിട്ടിട്ട് ഇതിനെ കാണാൻ നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇതിന്റെ യഥാർത്ഥ ചിത്രം കാണാൻ കഴിയില്ല. That is the most important thing. And the conflict between the conflict between different ideologies, constitutional ideology and the opposite ideology like caste oppression ideologies. So ഈ conflicting ideology ആണ് one of the major challenge that is in front of the constitution. That is the reason why nobody is ready to spread constitutional literacy in a meaningful manner. Because it is the duty of the citizen to spread this constitutional literacy because of the simple reason that it is created in their name. Because ഞാൻ പകുതി എടുത്തിട്ടുള്ളൂ, because of time constraint ഞാൻ അതിലേക്ക് പോകുന്നില്ല. I already explained why the role of the Ambedkar ഒക്കെ ഇനി വരുന്ന സ്ലൈഡിൽ സ്പെസിഫിക് ആയിട്ട് മെൻഷൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. I will share this slide, but definitely അത് ചെയ്യാം. പക്ഷെ ഇവിടുത്തെ പോയിന്റ് എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇത് ആരാണ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്? ഗവൺമെന്റിന് ഡിഫറെന്റ് ഐഡിയോളജി ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ they will not consider constitution. If the government has different ideology, they will not consider constitutional literacy. അപ്പോൾ ഈ കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റിംഗ് ഐഡിയോളജീസ് ആണ് പ്രശ്നം. ആ കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റിംഗ് ഐഡിയോളജിയിൽ നിന്ന് നമുക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ we have some solutions. For example, ഫസ്റ്റ് സൊല്യൂഷൻ എന്താന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ റൈറ്റ് ടു കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ, റൈറ്റ് ടു നോ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഷുഡ് ബി എ ഫണ്ടമെന്റൽ റൈറ്റ്. മുഴുവൻ കാര്യങ്ങളും അറിയേണ്ടത് ഒരു ഫണ്ടമെന്റൽ റൈറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് മാറ്റണം. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ ഡ്യൂട്ടി ഓഫ് ദ സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ടു ടീച്ച് കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ, ടു സ്പ്രെഡ് കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷണൽ ലിറ്ററസി. രണ്ടാമതായിട്ട് there should be an amendment in the fundamental duty also, because ഫണ്ടമെന്റൽ ഡ്യൂട്ടിയിൽ ഒരു അമെന്റ്മെന്റ് കൊണ്ടുവന്നിട്ട് നമ്മളുടെ ഡ്യൂട്ടി ആക്കണം കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ പഠിപ്പിക്കേണ്ടത്. നമ്മളുടെ ഓരോരുത്തരുടെയും ഡ്യൂട്ടി ആക്കണം. നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചാൽ മാത്രം പോരാ, ബട്ട് വി ഹാവ് ടു ടീച്ച് ദ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഇൻ ഇറ്റ്സ് റൈറ്റ് സെൻസ്. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു വന്ന കാര്യം, ഇന്ന് LGRF വരാനുണ്ടായ കാരണം അതാണ്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ റീസൺ വൈ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരു ഇന്റേൺഷിപ്പിൽ നമ്മളൊരു അസൈൻമെന്റ് തന്നതിന്റെ കാര്യം, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷന്റെ പ്രൊവിഷൻ ഒരു പോസ്റ്റർ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിടൂ. ബിക്കോസ് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് യുവർ റെസ്പോൺസിബിലിറ്റി ആസ് എ സിറ്റിസൺ. അത് നമ്മൾ ചെയ്തില്ല എന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ വി ആർ കമ്മിറ്റിംഗ് എ ക്രൈം. വി ആർ സീരിയസ്ലി കമ്മിറ്റിംഗ് എ ക്രൈം ബിക്കോസ് ഓഫ് ഇഗ്നോറൻസ്. ബിക്കോസ് ഓഫ് ഇഗ്നോറൻസ്. അത് നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന ചെറിയ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്താൽ മതി, വളരെ ചെറിയ കാര്യം. ബിക്കോസ് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് വൺ ഓഫ് ദ ഷാർപ്പസ്റ്റ് ഫിലോസഫി. വി ആർ നോട്ട് അഗെയിൻസ്റ്റ് എനി ഫിലോസഫി. We must accept every philosophy if it is consistent with constitutional moralities. So that is one of the major reason why LTRF. അത് ഇപ്പോൾ സന്ദീപാണ് അതിന്റെ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷന്റെ ലിറ്ററസിയുടെ ചാർജ് ഉള്ള ആള്. വി കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂട്ടഡ് എ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ലിറ്ററസി സെന്റർ ഇൻ ദി ഡെപ്യൂട്ടി സ്പീക്കേഴ്സ് ഓഫീസ്, which is the first constitutional literacy center in India. we proudly say that we LGRF started the first constitutional literacy center in India. ഒരു MLA-യുടെയോ MP-യുടെയോ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യുവൻസിയിലെ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ലിറ്ററസി സെന്റർ ഇല്ല. ഇനി ഇത് ആരുടെ ഡ്യൂട്ടിയാണ് ഈ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ സ്പ്രെഡ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്? ഈസ് ഇറ്റ് ഡ്യൂട്ടി ഓഫ് എ ചർച്ച് or a mosque or a temple? എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലാവുന്നില്ല. So അത് ഒന്ന് സന്ദീപേ, you please explain it within 5 minutes or taking 5 minutes. Can you explain? Sandeep? Hello, Sandeep?
Hello.
Sandeep,
am I audible?
Yeah, audible.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. I can explain, sir. I will do my best to make it as brief as possible.
Simply explain what is actually the intention of LGRF, especially in constitutional literacy.
Sure, sir. Thank you, Safi sir. Thank you to the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Myself, Sandeep, I'm a Joint Secretary of the State Chapter Law and Justice Research Foundation, and I am also given the charge of Center for Constitutional Literacy, CCL, operating in Chirankere, established by Law and Justice Research Foundation. Now, everyone, what Safi sir and Lawwellman sir has mentioned here, both of the speakers, main speakers, the gist of the idea that I understand from what I heard from their presentation. I hope I am audible. Can anyone confirm whether I am audible?
You're audible.
Yeah. Sure. Yes. So both the speakers were mainly speaking from my point of view. What I understand is they were trying to share the idea of India. What is an India? As Lawwellman sir has already mentioned, Winston Churchill has remarked that India is nothing but a geography, and we vehemently disagree with that point of view. And in the gist of the presentation, what I understand is India is not a geography; it is an idea. And ideas, where do they preside? Where do ideas live? They do not live in a paper. They do not live on the face of a rock. They live inside the minds of people. Ideas are living inside the minds of the people. The concept of India, as an idea, it is living inside the minds of each and every person who identifies herself or himself as an Indian citizen. So that is the reason why the Indian Constitution is considered as a living document. Why Indian Constitution is considered as a living document is because the idea of Constitution is not within the articles, or it's not within a book or within the pages. The idea of the Indian Constitution is in the hearts and minds of the Indian people. And where can we see the hearts and the minds of the Indian people? We can see the hearts and the minds of the Indian people in the Preamble. And according to the Preamble, the idea of India lives in the minds of the people, and therefore Indian Constitution is a living document, because Indian people are living human beings, living, breathing human beings. They have emotions, they have aspirations, and according to the Preamble, the Indian Constitution is created by we, the people of India, the people who calls themselves as we, the people of India. And ultimately, in other words, India is born out of the minds of the people. India is born out of a social contract that exists within the minds of the people. That is the reason why, again, India, as Safi sir has mentioned, it's a living document. So the social contract is there, and the social contract is between the people of India, and that is evidenced by the wording of the Preamble. We, the people of India, solemnly constitute. And we enter into the contract to create what? What kind of an idea? An idea where there is secularism. We, the people of India, solemnly constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, democratic republic, a secular democratic republic, and that is the idea. That is the concept, and it is there in the minds of each and every people. And unfortunately, as Safi sir has mentioned, many of the Indian people, those who are born in this country, majority of the Indian people, they are not aware of the fact that there is such a thing like the Indian Constitution, or there is such a thing called as the Preamble of the Indian Constitution. And I hope you are aware of the principle of contract. In order to enter into a contract, you have to communicate. There must be a communication between the people who are entering into contract. Without the communication, there cannot be a contract. Okay, and the problem is many of the people who are born in India, they do not know the basic values and philosophies of India. And that is what Lawwellman sir and Safi sir has been trying to articulate very briefly through this presentation. And the main objective of Law and Justice Research Foundation is to communicate this information, this consideration. We want to communicate the terms and conditions of this contract to each and every individual who is born into this country, and who are classified as illiterate. Even with literacy, even if you have literacy, it doesn't mean that you are aware of the Indian Constitution. Basic literacy is not sufficient. People they must come into contact with the Indian Constitution. We must make an active participation or a positive action. We have to unfortunately take a positive action to inform each and every citizen of India the terms and conditions of the social contract. And that is the main objective of behind the creation of Center for Constitutional Literacy, or CCL, where the members of Law and Justice Research Foundation comes up with programs, schemes, which are positive actions that the members of the Law and Justice Research Foundation takes to ensure that the people of India, within India as well as outside India, comes into contact, or they are made informed of the terms and conditions of the social contract. What is secularism? What is meant by socialism? What is meant by republicanism? What is meant by democracy? What is meant by fraternity? What is meant by equality? What is meant by fraternity, liberty? What is meant by justice, economic, political, social? What is that? What are these words? What are these words to us? Who are called as we the people of India? Whether he's a Christian, he's a Muslim, he's a Jain, or he's a Jew. Who are they? What is the philosophy? And by reading the letter of the preamble, that is not enough. It is a very complicated philosophy. It is a beautiful philosophy that is incorporated into the Constitution. The Indian Constitution is inspired by beautiful values all across the world. Indian Constitution has borrowed many of its principles, as Safi sir has mentioned. Many of its principles are inspired by values, humane values which existed across the world. India has borrowed directive principles of state policy from Ireland. India has borrowed fundamental duties from Soviet Union. India has borrowed fundamental rights from the United States. India has borrowed the parliamentary democracy from United Kingdom. India has borrowed federal democracy from United States. All these are wonderful values which exist in different parts of the world, and we have Indian Constitution is a amalgamation of all these beautiful values all organized in together in order to create the concept of India, in order to create a wonderful, beautiful concept of India. And it remains a beacon of hope across the world, as the second largest population, as a democracy which is influenced by all these values, which has the potential to be influenced. I believe not all people of India is touched by this Indian Constitution. We need to reach each and every citizen of India. We have to communicate this beautiful philosophy to each and every citizen of India, and that is not a simple task. So far, what the Center for Constitutional Literacy has done is, the first program that we have conducted is we hosted a international, we hosted a speech or a one-day lecture. We hosted a one-day lecture on constitutional philosophy and value, and this one-day lecture was delivered by the Professor Dr. Gopal, the former Vice Chancellor of NLS Bangalore. And subsequently, we also conducted free legal aid to each and every inhabitants of Chiraingiri constituency. And that is, again, that is in order to advance in order to implement the values and philosophy of Indian Constitution. When they come for legal aid, they come to know that about Article 39A that is there in the Directive Principles of State Policy. They come to know that there is a constitution known as India, and the Constitution and Article 39A provides for free legal aid. And subsequently, we have conducted a webinar on that camp. The camp was hosted by law students from across Kerala. And it was a volunteer camp, and the camp worked at the office of the Deputy Speaker in Chiraingiri. And we provided free legal aid on every Saturday and Sunday, where we categorized the legal grievances of the inhabitants into civil, criminal, and tortious nature. And we guided them to the appropriate institutions that is established by the Indian Constitution. We guided them whether to approach the civil court, whether to approach the criminal court, whether to approach any tribunal, whether to approach the High Court, Supreme Court, whether to approach where to go, which institution to approach that is established by the Indian Constitution in their service. And we have subsequently conducted, a national webinar on the social legal significance of government law colleges, and the objective was to emphasize in order to find the different ways in which the government law colleges can be reformed in order to emerge the government law college as pillars or institutions where the philosophy of Indian Constitution can be spread to the public at large. And we discussed what are the measures, what are the opportunities and challenges that are there with the government law colleges to act as a beacon of social reform. That is one of the fundamental duties of Indian Constitution. If you look into Article 51, Clause H, where it speaks about scientific acumen and the need. That is Article 51A, Clause H speaks about the need for developing scientific temper, humanism, spirit of inquiry, and reform. That is the main objective of Law and Justice Research Foundation, along with the spreading Indian Constitution. That is, I believe, one of the main intentions. The ultimate cornerstone of Indian Constitution is to develop scientific temper. It is because of the scientific temper we have developed an alternative philosophy for India. India was as Winston Churchill has stated, India was a country where it was divided into different ideologies. As Safi sir again mentioned, there is a conflict that is happening between the ideology of Indian Constitution versus other ideologies. The ideology of Indian Constitution is born out of scientific method, scientific temperament, and the main objective of the Indian Constitution is to make reforms, that is social reforms, and to develop humanism. That is, we do not give Indian citizenship based on whether that particular person is a Hindu, Muslim, or Christian. And that is already mentioned by Ambedkar in his speech. And that is humanism is there, and inquiry and reform. Reform is very essential. India is a developing country, and there are a lot of issues, social, economic, and political issues that we need to address. We need to reform. And with all these intentions, that is constitutional reform, then Safi sir has mentioned, there is a need for amending the fundamental duty, and we need to insert spreading constitutional literacy as a fundamental duty. That is a reform that we need to make. And Safi sir also mentioned in his presentation about truth. And nowhere in the Indian Constitution we can see the terminology truth. Satyameva Jayata is not inserted into the Constitution. Satyameva Jayata is incorporated into the Indian State Indian Emblem Act 2005. It is not there in the Constitution. Whether we need to insert truth as part of Indian Preamble, whether we need to insert constitutional literacy as a fundamental duty, whether we need to insert transparency, that is right to information as a fundamental right under Article 19. All these things we need to discuss. So not only to spread the philosophy and values of Indian Constitution, but also to implement the constitutional reforms. And also to keep alive, without spreading the philosophy of Constitution, the Constitution cannot live inside the minds of the people. If the terms and conditions of this social contract is not communicated, the Constitution will wither away. If it is not communicated into the minds of the people, it will disappear, like a language which is gone out of use. The Constitution will disappear if the values and philosophy of the Constitution is not communicated to the people properly. So, without entering into the minds of the people, the life of the Constitution will go away and it will die. And in order to prevent such an outcome, this Center for Constitutional Literacy has been established. And the last project that we have taken up is the webinar on social legal significance of government law colleges. And the next program that we want to take up is a certificate course on constitutional literacy. And the certificate course will be conducted by Law and Justice Research Foundation under the Center for Constitutional Literacy, Chirankira, in association with Mandapa Science Foundation, which is another NGO that is associating with us. And another entity that is also associating with this is the Hindustan University that is based in Chennai. So these three institutions are coming together in order to come up with a certificate course on constitutional literacy, and that is meant for the public as a whole. And the certificate course will contain 3 levels: level 1, level 2, and level 3. That level 1 is a course, foundation course, where we will convey the basics of Indian Constitution, basic concepts of Indian Constitution. And once you have completed level 1, that is the course, you will go progress to level 2, and level 2 will go into the salient features of the Constitution, that is each of the basic concepts. Level 3 will be an advanced stage where we will discuss about case laws, jurisprudence. So there are 3 levels in the course, and level 1 will be for 20 hours, level 2 will be for 40 hours, level 3 will be for 60 hours. So the idea behind this certificate course is to communicate the values and philosophies of the Indian Constitution into the minds of the Indian people. In order to communicate the terms and conditions of this social contract, so they can agree to enter into the social contract, and so as to work together to protect this social contract that is there. And The qualification to join this course will be the person who is interested to join this course should be a citizen of India. That is very crucial. And he should attain the age of 16. Okay, so anyone below the age of 16 will not be able to join this course. And this is a very ambitious goal that is set up by the Center for Constitutional Literacy in association with Hindustan University and Mantava Science Foundation. And we hope that we can implement this course and this course goes successfully. And the people from different walks of life can join this course and know about the Indian Constitution, so that we can spread the values and philosophy of the Indian Constitution, so that we can communicate the terms and conditions of the social contract. The more the parties enter into the social contract, the stronger the social contract will be, the stronger the preamble will be, we hope. Okay, and that with this, I think I have stated the goals and objectives Center for Constitutional Literacy as the convener of the Center for Constitutional Literacy. And as a convener, I look forward to the cooperation of all the interns in this 30-day internship, and looking forward to all of your contribution. And thanks again to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to explain the salient features of the program that we are conducting under the Center for Constitutional Literacy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So that was an excellent session by where every speakers have chipped in with their own point of views, and that was very insightful. We have got different perspectives regarding the Constitution, and I hope this will be useful for applying in our career in future. And we are all extremely grateful to all the speakers for making this session of our 30-day internship program for LLB students conducted by LJRF an absolutely wonderful experience. Sir, so can we move on to the queries, sir? Are there any queries? So can you listen?
Yeah, no problem. ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് പ്രശ്നമില്ല. We are ready to answer all of your questions.
I'll ask them anyway. I'll ask them if there is any query.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, sir. So if there is any queries, they can post it in the chat box, or they can unmute and directly ask the question to the speakers.
It's better if they can unmute and ask their questions directly.
Sure, sir.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, I'm going to talk about a rare situation. That is when the three powers, that is the executive, legislature, as well as judiciary, are acting in favor of the ruling party. And suppose if the ruling party is taking decisions against the principles of Constitution, then what are the remedies which are available for safeguarding the constitutional values in that particular situation?
So, officer, should I be answering this, or you'll be doing it?
Yeah, ഞാൻ ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ ചെയ്യാം, സാറോണെങ്കിൽ ചെയ്യാം. നമുക്ക് രണ്ടുപേർക്കും different.
You do that.
Thank you, Arya, for that question. Arya, the main problem is I already explained the fact that there is difference of ideology. The ideology is the important. കാരണം the political partyയുടെ ഐഡിയോളജി ആവില്ല കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഐഡിയോളജി, ബിക്കോസ് അതിനൊരു പാരാമീറ്റർ ഉണ്ട്. ആ പാരാമീറ്റർ ഐ ഓൾറെഡി എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ദ ഫാക്ട് ദാറ്റ് പാരാമീറ്റർ ഈസ് ആക്ച്വലി ദ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ മൊറാലിറ്റി. പക്ഷെ ഇവിടെ വേണ്ട ഒരു പോയിന്റ്, ദാറ്റ് പോയിന്റ് ഈസ് എ വെരി വെരി റിലവന്റ് പോയിന്റ്. എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാല് when you are a part of constitutional institution, when you are entering into a part of a constitutional institution, നിങ്ങൾ ആ ഐഡിയോളജി, നിങ്ങളുടെ ഐഡിയോളജി യു ഹാവ് ടു കോംപ്രമൈസ്. എന്നിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ ആരുടെ ഐഡിയോളജി എടുക്കണമെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഐഡിയോളജി യു ഹാവ് ടു ഇൻകൾക്കേറ്റ്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ മോസ്റ്റ് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് പോയിന്റ്. ഇവിടെയാണ് ആ ഡിസ്പ്യൂട്ട് വരുന്നത്. എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ എൻറ്റർ ചെയ്ത് ഈ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനിൽ നിന്നാലും നമ്മുടെ ഐഡിയോളജി കളയാൻ നമ്മൾ തയ്യാറല്ല. സോ അതിനിപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് ഒരു സിംഗിൾ റെമഡി സൊല്യൂഷൻ നമുക്ക് പറയാൻ കഴിയില്ല. ഒന്ന്. രണ്ട്, അത് പറഞ്ഞാലും അതൊരു സൊല്യൂഷൻ ആവുന്നില്ല. ഇതിന് നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന ഒരു കാര്യം എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാല് ഈ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ഓൾ കഴിഞ്ഞ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ തന്നെ കഴിഞ്ഞ ക്ലാസ്സിലെ സ്പീക്കർ പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നല്ലോ, അതായത് ഈ ഒരു ലാക്ക് ഓഫ് അക്സെപ്റ്റബിലിറ്റി എല്ലാം നമ്മുടെ സൊസൈറ്റിയിൽ ഉണ്ട്. കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലും സൊസൈറ്റിക്ക് അക്സെപ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റാത്ത പല കാര്യങ്ങളും ഉണ്ട്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെയാണ് ഈ പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ ഐഡിയോളജി. അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന കാര്യം എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാല് നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നത് നമ്മളെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് വളരെ കുറച്ച് കാര്യങ്ങളെ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. നമ്മളൊക്കെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് അത് ചെയ്യാന്നുള്ളതാണ്. അതെന്താന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാല് we have to spread constitutional literacy in a meaningful way. Number one. എന്നിട്ട് we have to ensure the right of the citizens. നമ്മൾ റൈറ്റ് എൻഷുർ ചെയ്യണം. അങ്ങനെ നമ്മളൊരു ഒരു കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷണൽ ലോവൽമാൻ സാർ പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ we have to create a constitutional culture. So ഇപ്പോ ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ LGRF-ന്റെ as far as LGRF is concerned, LGRF has a definite specific ideology. നമുക്ക് ഒരു ഐഡിയോളജി ഉണ്ട്. അത് ഐഡിയോളജി ഈസ് നത്തിങ് ബട്ട് കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷണൽ മൊറാലിറ്റി ആൻഡ് കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷണലിസം ഈസ് അവർ ഐഡിയോളജി. അങ്ങനെ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻസ് കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനെ സ്പ്രെഡ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ആവണം. ഒരു ഉദാഹരണം കൂടെ ഞാൻ പറയാം. ഇപ്പോ ആർട്ടിക്കിൾ 38 ഒന്ന് യു പ്ലീസ് റെഫർ ആര്യ. ആ 38 പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്, ദ സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ഷാൽ സ്ട്രൈവ് ടു പ്രൊമോട്ട് ദ വെൽഫെയർ ഓഫ് ദ പീപ്പിൾ ബൈ സെക്യൂറിംഗ് ആൻഡ് protecting as effectively as it may be a social order in which justice, social, economic and political, and shall inform all the institution of the national life. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാല് നമ്മുടെ രാജ്യത്തെ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻസ് എല്ലാം ജസ്റ്റ് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ആയിരിക്കും. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ കോർ വാല്യൂ ഓഫ് ആർട്ടിക്കിൾ 38. ഈ ജസ്റ്റ് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ആണ് എന്ന് അവർക്കൊരു ബോധ്യം വേണം. അത് അങ്ങനെയാണ് എന്ന് നമ്മുടെ സൊസൈറ്റിക്കും ഒരു ബോധ്യം ഉണ്ടാവും. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെ അല്ലാത്ത ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ എല്ലാം നമ്മൾ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ചെയ്യണം. ബിക്കോസ് വി ആർ ദ ലാർജസ്റ്റ് ഡെമോക്രസി ഇൻ ദ വേൾഡ്. അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് പല രീതിയിൽ നമുക്ക് അതിനെ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ചെയ്യാം. ബിക്കോസ് ഇൻ മൈ പോയിന്റ് ഓഫ് വ്യൂ ജുഡീഷ്യറി ഈസ് ദ പവർഫുൾ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ. പക്ഷെ ജുഡീഷ്യറിയുടെ ഐഡിയോളജി മാറാൻ പാടില്ല. ജുഡീഷ്യറിയുടെ ഒരു ജഡ്ജിന്റെ ഐഡിയോളജി കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഐഡിയോളജിക്ക് എതിരായാലും ദേ ആർ അഗെയിൻസ്റ്റ് ദ പീപ്പിൾ ഓഫ് ദിസ് കൺട്രി. നമ്മുടെ രാജ്യത്തിലെ ജനങ്ങൾക്കെതിരാണ്, കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനെതിരല്ല. They are against the people of the country because constitution is simply a product of the people. അപ്പോ ഇതിന് ഒരേ ഒരു വഴി മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ, എംപവർമെന്റ് ഓഫ് പീപ്പിൾ. അതായത് അംബേദ്കർ പറഞ്ഞത് ഈ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഈസ് നോട്ട് എ മിയർ ലോയേഴ്സ് ഡോക്യുമെന്റ്. ലോയേഴ്സിന്റെ ഡോക്യുമെന്റ് അല്ല, ബട്ട് the constitution, the spirit of the constitution is the spirit of the ages. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അംബേദ്കർ ഇപ്പം ഇല്ലല്ലോ. ഇപ്പോ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷന്റെ സ്പിരിറ്റ് ആര്യയുടെയും എന്റെയും ലോവൽമാൻ സാറിന്റെയും സ്പിരിറ്റ് ആണ്. സോ അത് സംരക്ഷിക്കേണ്ട ബാധ്യത നമുക്കുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ നമ്മൾക്കാണ് റെസ്പോൺസിബിലിറ്റി. ഇപ്പൊ മനുഷ്യർക്ക്, നമ്മളിപ്പോ ജീവിക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാർക്കാണ് റെസ്പോൺസിബിലിറ്റി. ബിക്കോസ് സന്ദീപ് ഓൾറെഡി മെൻഷൻ ദ ഫാക്ട് ദാറ്റ് കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഈസ് എ ലിവിംഗ് ഡോക്യുമെന്റ്. അത് നമ്മൾ തിരിച്ചറിയാന്നുള്ളത് മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ. താങ്ക് യു ആര്യ.
Safi sir, can I add something to this as a footnote?
Yeah, definitely, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, Arya, you said if the institutions are not keeping themselves within the constitutional spirit, what could be the remedy? ആ രീതിയിൽ ചോദിച്ച പോലെ സാറ് പറഞ്ഞു. അതിനകത്ത് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ സഫി സാർ ഊന്നി പറഞ്ഞൊരു പോയിന്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ to keep those institutions within the constitution spirit. അതിന് നമ്മൾ കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ അവയർനെസ് സ്പ്രെഡ് ചെയ്യണം, ആ രീതിയിലുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു. ആൻഡ് കോൺസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ ഓൾസോ ഹാസ് എ മെക്കാനിസം built-in mechanism to see that the actions of the government authorities are within constitutional spirit. So I just show you one or two slides which I think I missed when I there was a technical problem also. I'll just share those 2 slides with you, with all the others, so that I can put that point across. So when I say constitutional spirit, which constitutional literacy should try to spread, these are the 4 areas where you should be concentrating on, like preamble principles, like which the which Safi sir has already put across: sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. And such an India is constituted for the purpose of achieving justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity. These are the 9 golden words. ഈ 9 ഈ 5 രീതിയിലുള്ള ഇന്ത്യ ഈ ബാക്കിയുള്ള 4 കാര്യങ്ങൾ അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ്. Rather, it is the distilled essence of the constitution. And all the state actions, ഇപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞ 5 വർഷം കൂടുമ്പോൾ മാറി വരുന്ന സ്റ്റേറ്റ്സിന്റെ അല്ലെ സ്റ്റേറ്റിന്റെ ഗവൺമെന്റ്സിന്റെ ആക്ഷൻസ്, it should be within the spirit of these 9 words or these 9 phenomena. അതുകൂടാതെ you have fundamental rights, you have directive principles, and you have fundamental duties also. All this put together, I would like to call it as constitutional spirit. It is this constitutional spirit, and based on that, we need to have a constitutional culture, which we need to spread. As the volunteers for this, you should be spreading that. And coming specifically to your point of if the government authorities presently elected is not coming within the power of this, what are we supposed to do? For that, Constitution itself has a mechanism which says that, I think I've got a slide on that, which I think I'll just show you. The Constitution says, if the government authorities are not acting within the constitutional power, then this should be the consequence. Their action will be declared as unconstitutional. And if it is legislature, that law will be declared as unconstitutional. If it is executive, that executive action, government order, will be declared as unconstitutional, and they will have to go out of the legal system and also the political system. So this is the presently available built system to check that the constitutional authorities are working within the constitutional spirit or constitutional design. And of course, it is the power to verify this, power of keeping vigil on this is cast on the judiciary, or rather, judiciary is considered as the guardian of constitution and constitutional spirit. And if the constitutional authorities are not acting within this, this is the consequence. They will be unconstitutional, and they will be sent out of the ground, out of the playground. This is going to be the consequence of that. I think I made my point also clear. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. For which you have read petitions and things like that. This is the usual procedure for doing it. Article 226 and 32. Yeah, I think with that we will come to an end if there is no further question. Yeah, it's over to Ajay and also.
Yes, sir. Does anyone else have any questions? So I think there are no more questions. So can I invite Mr. Anandu R.S., my fellow intern, to deliver the vote of thanks?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen, even touched. They must be felt within the heart. A very warm good evening to everyone, respected dignitaries, volunteers, students, and my dear fellow beings. I'm Anandu R.S., 4th year law student of Kerala Law Academy Law College and member LJRF Thiruvananthapuram chapter. It's my privilege and honor to conclude the session by extending a vote of thanks to the very special invitee who have graced this function with his august presence and wise counsel, Sri Dr.Lawwellman Sir, Assistant Professor, Govt. Law College, Kozhikode, and our LJRF mentor, the man behind all this program, our dearest Safi Mohan Sir, Assistant Professor, Govt. Law College, Thiruvananthapuram. On behalf of the entire LJRF family, I seek the privilege to thank you, sir, for finding time to spend with us, and also for those words of kindness and wisdom, making this evening a memorable one and being a part of it. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Sincerely,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All the pleasure is mine, and it is with your permission I'll give the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Pleasure for being with you all.
Thank you very much.
I sincerely express my gratitude to Advocate Tejas Purushothaman Sir, President, LJRF, and Ajay R. Kamath, Secretary, LJRF, for their support and guidance. I express my special thanks to the coordinators, Nilima V. Naya ma'am, Gino M. Kurian sir, for their support, which was integral to the session. I express my immense gratitude to our team supervisor, Ms. Jomol J. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to you, ma'am, for guiding us and being an inspiration and constant support. I also thank this opportunity to express my regards to my beloved friend, Ajay Y, fellow intern, for comparing the session, and Vaishnavi for the welcome address. I would like to extend my gratitude to the technical coordinators, Sandeep Chandrasekhar, Joint Secretary, LJRF, and Gauri Shankar, intern, and editors of lawexams.co.in, and their tireless efforts for the conduct of this session. On behalf of the LJRF family, once again, I thank all the authorities and the students for participating in this session. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Anandu. Thank you. So with that, we conclude this session. I once again thank all the speakers who have presented for giving us valuable information, and to all the interns who have patiently listened to the session. Thank you. Have a nice day. Good night.